And we've reached a point in our evening where, in order to cover as much territory as we can, all the remaining questions will be 1-minute answers, no rebuttal unless a candidate plays their remaining challenge card. First 1-minute question, no rebuttal, goes to Mr. Manalakis. Collected, what ways would you change current gun laws? 1 minute.
Well, I would emphasize that we should realize that pepper spray is a better weapon often than a gun. I say this facetiously, but actually it's actually true. And you don't need a license to carry it. It's not invasive on the person you have to use it on. And research has shown that most gun encounters are at 2 to 7 feet away. You have a 15-foot range with pepper spray. But I do support gun rights also, because sometimes pepper spray won't be enough. But often it would be. Actually, as far as guns go, I saved the life of myself and somebody else being creative. We need creativity in Washington. What I did is I put when I was threatened when somebody had a rifle, a shotgun, I picked up a flashlight in the dark and made it look like a gun. And I won the encounter.
Kelly?
I'll say.
Well, it's hard to know what to say. I've never defeated anybody who had a shotgun with a flashlight. So you really one up to me on that one. The Second Amendment is very clear. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I don't know how I could say it any better than the founding fathers of this nation already said it. The government has no right to take away your ability to protect yourself.
Mr. Barber?
The Second Amendment is one of the most important amendments in our Constitution, and I support it. You know, I had an experience with a gun not too long ago. A lot of people would say, Ron, you want to change the gun laws? I say, no. I want to change how it is that we restrict people who shouldn't have guns from having them. That's a big issue. In our state, for example, we have counties that do not report people who have been committed as dangerous to self and others, and they can have a gun because the background check will never find that. The laws that we have already say felons and people who are committed or a danger to self or other reasons should not have a gun. What we need to do is enforce those laws to make sure that the people who are carrying guns are the people who are supposed to. The case of the young man who shot us on January 8th, if he had been committed and not reported, he would have had a gun. As it turned out, he wasn't committed yet, which is a whole other issue in terms of mental health services. But when we look at the state of Arizona, we do not have a standardized practice. Fortunately, there's a task force now supported by the Department of Justice that is going to try to bring us into compliance across the state.
Next question from Mr. Dinesh Rathori. He wants you to know that he's 31 and just moved to Oro Valley. And he wants to know if you believe the eligibility age for Medicare needs to be raised in order to save it. Mr. Kelly, you're first. You have a minute.
It's one of those questions that can only be answered if you tell me how much the economy is going to grow. Right now, with an economy this size and 10,000 people retiring per day, if we don't get the government out of the way and let the private sector expand again and create jobs, then of course it's going to have to be raised. I don't think we have to do that. I think we can create jobs in this nation. And by creating those jobs, we'll have a broader tax base paying into the government, bringing in the revenue we need, so we won't have to raise that age. But it's a question that can only be answered with, is the government going to continue to crush this economy, or is the government going to get out of the way so the American people can revitalize this economy?
Mr. Barber?
I would not vote for or support an effort to raise the eligibility for Medicare. There are many things we can do to make the solvency of Medicare go far beyond 2024, which is the current solvency time period according to the trustees. I said before that one of the biggest issues in Medicare is fraud. It's estimated that $1 billion a year is given to providers, paid to providers, fraudulently. And as I said earlier, in Florida alone, $500 million in fraud was detected. The other aspect of Medicare that I've also spoken to, which would help Medicare reduce its costs, is to allow the federal government to use its purchasing power to go in and negotiate the price of medications with the pharmaceutical companies. We need to correct that bill that was written by the pharmaceutical companies so that it is fair to the American people and to the taxpayer, and that we're not paying 48% more for the medications in Medicare Part D than we are in the VA, where negotiation of prices is allowed. Those are some of the answers to Medicare's solvency problem.
Thank you. Mr. Manalakis, do you
No, I definitely would not. And I am impressed with Mr. Barber's conversion, talking about Medicare fraud, but his figure's a lot off. It isn't 1 billion a year, it's many, many, many billions a year. And again, we have to pay attention to the fact that Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid are also always interconnected in the functioning of our government. So I think that we definitely don't have to rise to the age of Medicare recipients. If we just follow a set course, a set action to take out the fraud out of Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid to the tune of billions of dollars that has been taken away from the American people, then we would have to think about age. Everything would be a lot more hunky-dory, and we'd exist in a state of equilibrium than it would be good. That's all we have to do. Take the fraud out of all three of our sacred cows.